Look at these publications that you see on the screen, abstracts presented in international meetings worldwide. Maybe you want to do residency in a competitive program. Maybe you want to go to another country, apply for a PhD. Can you imagine how much easier it will be to get there with high impact publications such as these? Believe me, I've been frustrated and disappointed in trying to find research mentors in my career. And I want to show you a different method by which you can get mentors. There's a specific research method that you can apply in your career that will give you results, that you can do it independently, that you can develop an idea, work on it, and even draft the paper. This will open doors of mentorship for you in your institution and beyond.
We choose to go to the moon, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
It's also more than that. The Meta-Analysis Academy is a community of doctors and medical students who have this mindset that they not only want to get publications done, of course that will happen, but they also have this mindset of excellence, of wanting more. So it's these two things. It's the ability to get research done, and it's an environment that will provide the excellence that you look for in your career. Hello everyone and welcome to the Publication Roadmap. This is Randerson Cardozo. I'm so excited that you're joining me. Let me know in the chat, please, where you're from. I saw people here from all over the world already on our chat. If you haven't added yet, please let me know your name, where you're from, and also your level of training. Let me know if you're a resident, if you're in medical school, if you're in another profession in the medical field. I'm really excited that you guys are joining us from Colombia, from Ghana, from India, from Cameroon, and so many countries all around the world, Greece. So welcome. I'm very excited to share this transformative journey with you, the Publication Roadmap. Today and tomorrow, day 1 and day 2, you will learn you will learn the roadmap, the pathway to doing impactful research with autonomy to transform your career. That's the goal here. It's quite simple. What I will share with you transformed my own career and the lives and the careers of hundreds of our students at this point. So get ready. I hope you're well caffeinated and you're ready to join me on this incredible journey of the Publication Roadmap. Let's go ahead and get started. I have some announcements before we go and dive into the topic here. So I hope you guys can see my screen. Someone said that this was a pre-recorded session. It is not. I am live with you right now. I am in Boston in the United States. It is 7 in the morning over here and we're midday London time. So let's get ready. We're starting day 1 of the Publication Roadmap. All right, guys. So in this day 1, we will have 3 different classes. I will show you first how publications can be a gateway to a successful career to help you achieve your career goals. Then we will talk about how to overcome barriers for publications, the things that hold you back, the reasons why you can't publish papers. And then we're going to talk about the 10-step method, the how you will achieve publications with autonomy through meta-analysis. So this is the first class, the gateway to a successful career through publications. So let me first introduce myself. You may not know me. If you're joining me the first time for this webinar, my name is Randerson Cardozo. I'm a cardiologist. I'm an international medical graduate. I graduated medical school in Brazil. I did my internal medicine training in Miami and cardiology fellowship at the Johns Hopkins Hospital. And I now practice at Brigham and Women's Hospital here in Boston with Harvard Medical School. It is important for you to know that the Publication Roadmap, the Meta-Analysis Academy, in this class, they're not affiliated with these institutions. I'm just saying this by means of an introduction. Now, the passion in my career is this. I teach doctors, medical students, healthcare professionals how to conduct high impact publications with autonomy. So you don't have to rely on your country, on your institution, on your local professors. And the goal of these publications is really to transform your career. That's really what I do. That's my passion, is to help you advance your career. Now, the publication roadmap will achieve this mission for you if you follow me. You have to have the commitment of watching the classes, paying close attention. This will not work if you just join for 30 minutes or 1 hour and then leave and don't finish it. You have to go through the full journey. But on the other hand, it will work regardless of your level of training, your prior research experience, regardless of your country, your skin color, your last name, if you're famous or not. It works regardless if you're interested in cardiology, orthopedics, dermatology, or ophthalmology. It works regardless of your medical school. It works regardless of your professors. So it is independent of these factors. Of course, if you have extensive research experience, of course it helps. I'm not denying that. But what I will show you is that there is a path. There is a path for you to do research with autonomy, regardless of these factors. If you're listening in from Oxford or Johns Hopkins or institutions that have a lot of research in their culture, great for you, but that's not true for the majority of us who come from places where research opportunities are not abundant. And I'm here to show you that there is a way for you to achieve these publications, even regardless of your institution. And here I have a picture of a couple of colleagues from India, from Mangesh is from Pune, India, and then Shanmugh is from Andhra Pradesh. Forgive me, those from India, if I mispronounced that. And I just met them in London at an international conference where they were presenting their work. So again, this works for everyone, regardless of research experience and background. Okay, but again, this is really important. I want to emphasize this from the beginning. There are some of you who are watching this who are just sort of interested. Like you're curious, you maybe saw an ad, or maybe you follow me on my Instagram page and you saw me talking about it, but you're just curious. You don't really have the commitment to really dedicate yourself to this journey. You will not achieve results if you're just interested. You will only achieve really phenomenal results if you're committed to the end game. If you really dedicate these 2 days, today and tomorrow, 8 a.m. Brasilia time, midday London time, to really learn this journey. This is not something that you're going to watch 30 minutes of lectures and you're going to publish in the New England Journal of Medicine. Of course not. What I share with you here is very serious. It's very profound. It's got methods. It has all the different, it has different steps that you need to fulfill. So it's not magic, okay? You're not going to blink your eye and you're going to learn how to publish. You have to put the work. You need to focus, okay? I want you to get rid of your cell phone. I want you to put it in silence mode when we start in a little bit. I want you to focus, zone in on this, okay? And make sure to watch it live if you can. If you're watching the recording later on, it's only going to be available for a limited amount of time. So if you're watching the recording of day 1, go ahead and watch the recording of day 2 really quickly. If you're here with me and you have to leave for a call or an emergency, make sure to come back and watch the recording really quickly. It will not be available for long. So you have day 1 and day 2. Day 1 today has 3 parts. We're going to start with the reasons why you should do this. Is it because you want to do a residency in the United States, a fellowship, get a research fellowship, do a PhD, do a master's? So that's step 1 of our journey today. What is your reason for being here? I'll share with you my reasons for doing this journey, and then you will share with yourself or in the chat, you will share your reason for doing this, okay? So I want to know your why. The second part of today is going to be overcoming barriers. You don't have research right now. If I go to PubMed and I put your name, if I write your name in PubMed, I'm unlikely to find your name for most of you And the reasons for this may be because you don't have time, you don't have mentors, you think you have to pay a publication fee for journals. You do not. You do not know how to do statistics. You don't have support from your institution. You don't know where to start. There's no culture of publication where you're from. So I'm going to teach you in the second part of the class today how to overcome each of these barriers, okay? Then, finally, I'm going to show you how you're going to get this research with autonomy. So those are the 3 parts for today, okay? And again, it's really important that you focus. Some of what I teach here will be simple. Some of what I teach here will be complex. There are different levels of complexity here, and it's really important that you focus, that you pay close attention, that you keep the interest level high, because that's what commitment is all about. And then the final word before we get started with the first topic of day 1 is this very important message. You guys have been very fortunate to be here today. You have the time in your schedule. You saw the announcement for this publication roadmap, and this will be a transformative journey in your own career. You are very, very fortunate to be here, just like I was when I learned this 12, 13 years ago. So when I learned this, I started sharing it with all my friends. And this really helped me in my career. Because as my friends learned this as well, they started publishing papers and I helped them, and vice versa. So we formed really strong research groups and collaborations, which helped us, myself and them, to do well in our careers. I have today about 80 publications. Half of them are as first authors. The other ones I collaborated with some friends and colleagues. So the minute I learned this, I started sharing with my friends, and I want to invite you to call your friends to join here as well. Hit that share button, grab the link to this live stream, and share it with everyone. And then tell me in the chat that you've done this. I want to hear from you if you sent it in for your groups in your hospital, in your university, in your medical school class. Please let me know in the chat that you've sent out the link to everyone, because this will be really helpful for you as well. Okay? Now, I want to show you a quick example. This person that you see here, this colleague, her name is Isabella with a Z. Isabella joined the publication roadmap about 1.5 years or so ago. She was a medical student at the time in Russia, and she wanted to learn research just like you guys. But when she joined, she also invited her friend, Isabella with an S. They were friends. Isabella was in Spain. Isabella with a Z was in Russia. They joined the publication roadmap. Isabella with a Z invited Isabella with an S. And since then, they've published papers together. Isabella with a Z as first author, and Isabella with an S as co-author, and vice versa. Isabella as a first author, Isabella with a Z as a second author. So you will benefit from this. Make sure all your friends know about this. If you're not inviting your friends right now, you are harming yourself. Okay, so take this chance, get the link last time, because in 30 seconds, I'm going to tell you to shut off your phones. Okay, so get that link, hit the share button, send it to everybody that you know, WhatsApp groups, direct messages, put it in your groups, because when your friends know how to do this as well, you will benefit by helping them in their research, and they will help you in your research. All right, so make sure you hit the like button so we know that YouTube knows that it has to share this with other people. Make sure you follow the Meta-Analysis Academy YouTube channel over here, because we're going to share new videos with you. We do a podcast series on careers, and then, of course, share this powerful, powerful message. Okay, so Hillary sent it out. Dr. Eli sent it out. Yaya sent it out. So thank you very much for all of those who shared it in their medical groups, in their forums, in their communities. All right, guys, it's time to buckle up and learn the publication roadmap. Remember, persist until the end. If you just watch 30 minutes of this, you better leave now. It's going to be a waste of time. You have to go until the end, okay? Until the end, meaning end of day 2. All right, so we start day 1 now. I want you to close your phones right now. I want you to put it in silence mode, get away from social media, from WhatsApp, from Instagram, and focus entirely on the message that I have to share with you now. This is the publication roadmap. Okay, so class number 1 is the why. Why are you doing this? Why is this important to you? Why should you learn publications? And then I start with the most important message of this class, is that the publication roadmap and the publications that you will gather as a result, they're not the end. They're the means to an end. What is the end? The end is your career. Okay, the publication roadmap is not just about publications. It is about the impact that it will have on your career. And the first 20 or 30 minutes of this session is really me showing you how this is going to help you in your career. This is really important for you to understand. I know most of you guys have a general sense, of course, you're here. You know that publication is important. Publications are important. But you really need to understand this in depth. And I'm going to show you in this class. Look at this message I got the other day. This is from a friend. I'm going to show you who he is in just a second. A student who learned the publication roadmap and then joined the Meta-Analysis Academy. He sent me this when he was doing a night shift in the MICU, the Medical Intensive Care Unit. And this person learned the publication roadmap, and it has changed his life. He is a resident in internal medicine right now. And he was sharing with me how just learning meta-analysis completely changed his career. And this is Franz Serpa. Franz is from Ecuador, and he matched in internal medicine at the University of Texas Southwestern in Dallas. This is a phenomenal program. And Franz had a lot of research, and he matched, and he learned how to do meta-analysis, and he shared that message with me when he was a first-year resident just a few months ago, and he had one of his papers accepted at a great journal. So this is Franz Serpa, published first author in Heart Rhythm. And I'm going to show you some cardiology examples throughout this talk, but I'm also going to show you non-cardiology examples. This does not mean this is not just for cardiology. Okay, it's very important. I want to get that message out there because people say, Randerson, you showed these cardiology examples, but I want to tell you this works for orthopedics, dermatology, surgery, and I'm going to show you multiple examples throughout our conversation. So this is Franz. His life was totally transformed by learning how to do meta-analysis. Okay, and you, by learning research, by learning the publication roadmap, and you guys will learn this as well with me here. Okay, so let's move on to the why. The reason why I start with the why is because you have to believe that you're capable of getting there. If you think, no, this is not for me, then it really is not for you. But if you believe it, if you really pursue it as a goal, as an objective in your career, you will get there just like hundreds of our students have. Okay, so it's really important that you understand that you are capable of doing this, just like our friends. So if you're blind, if the lack of opportunities at your medical school, at your country, at your institution have prevented you from seeing this great thing, which is the opportunity that you have in your career with publications, then that's why this class is for you. Okay, why do we need this class? Because your medical school, your country, your institution does not teach you how to have a successful career, does not teach you how to have impactful publications, and then people feel frustrated. They feel frustrated about the lack of research opportunities. They feel frustrated about the lack of career opportunities. I want you to think about that. The lack of career opportunities are because, in part at least, of the lack of research opportunities. And I'm here to help you change that, okay? So really, the goal of this publication roadmap and what I'm going to teach you is not publications alone. It's a career of excellence. It's for you to help, just to help you achieve your career goals. And I'm going to share my story first, and then the stories of others as well. So if you go to PubMed and write my name today, you will find a little bit more than 80 results, 80 publications. This is just one recent one that was published in a great journal. But of course, it didn't always start like that. At this point, I have more than 1,800 citations in the literature, an H-index of 22, and these results occurred by the same pathway that I'm about to show you here. So let me share with you my journey. I came from a small state in the northern part of Brazil, underdeveloped compared to the big cities in the coast of Brazil. And I came to the United States for internal medicine residency. I matched at the University of Miami. I was an internal medicine resident there in 2013, 14, and 15. During that time, I started publishing a lot of papers because I wanted to get into cardiology fellowship. This really helped me to stand out. I became chief resident at the University of Miami Internal Medicine program. I received multiple awards. Some of these are hung up on my wall here in the back. And one of these awards is particularly special because it has my own name on it. It's the Randerson Cardozo Award. It's given until today. It's been almost 10 years since I got this in 2016. And it's given every year to the best resident in that program. So this Randerson Cardozo Award has really is really meaningful. It's in my own career, and I'm really grateful to the University of Miami for this. I then went on to the Johns Hopkins Hospital for cardiology fellowship, and then to Harvard Medical School. And remember, the publication roadmap and the meta-analysis are not affiliated with these institutions. I've had the opportunity to speak at national and international conferences like the American Heart Association. I've had the opportunity to write a book chapter for the largest textbook in cardiology, present at great conferences in cardiology and cardiac imaging, which is what I do. This is the University of Miami giving out that Randerson Nascimento Cardozo Award every year to the best resident in the program. These were some of the awardees over the last few years. And over here in Harvard, where I currently work, I've been promoted and I've won awards. And this has really been predominantly because of teaching, which I really love to do, and research, which is what I'm going to share with you. So I share this story of my own career as an inspiration to you. And I'm going to show you the lives and careers of dozens, hundreds of students that have followed in similar footsteps. Because I start with my journey, but I want you to understand that it's not just about me. It's really about the impact that it's going to have in your own career. Nothing brings me more joy today professionally than this. At this point, the students who have done the publication roadmap and the Meta-Analysis Academy have had more than 1,900 abstracts presented at global conferences and more than 1,000 participations in peer-reviewed publications. And it's only been about 2 years and 3 months since I started teaching this on a global scale. So I'm going to teach you over here how you're going to get your name in publications, how you're going to do these publications. It's important to tell you from the beginning that I will not do it for you. The publication roadmap is about teaching you how to do it. Just like all these students that I share with you, they did it, okay? And this will be transformative in your own career. So these were my goals that research helped me to achieve. A competitive residency, become chief resident, fellowship at Johns Hopkins, imaging fellowship at Harvard, master's degree. I did a master's at Johns Hopkins. I've been a speaker at global conferences. It has helped me with immigration applications. So in all these different steps in my own career, the publication roadmap, doing research, doing publications have helped me. But for you, you have to decide for yourself, what are your goals? What is your goal? And I listed some here, And I want you to know in the chat, if you tell me, I want you to tell me what your goal is. Okay? Tell me what your goal is. All right? Tell me what is your goal. Write it in the chat. Are you interested in a match application, a residency match, fellowship application, research fellowship? What is your goal? What is your goal? What is your purpose? Okay? Match into residency for a lot of people. PhD. Excellent. Contribute to science. A lot of people here are interested in residency or PhD or research fellowships. That's fantastic. So the way you guys are going to get there, in part, is with the authority of the publications. The authority of publications will help you to get where you want to go in your career. Okay? So where does this authority come from? It comes from high impact publications. What I'm going to teach you here in this program, in this 2-day program, the publication roadmap, is for you to publish at the top of the pyramid of evidence. I want you guys to completely get rid of doing low-level, low-impact publications and research. Case reports, case series are not going to be meaningful when you apply for a PhD, when you apply for a residency in a competitive program. I'm going to teach you how to publish at the top of the pyramid of evidence. This is what will give you the authority. This is what will give you the impact that you need to achieve these goals. Okay? So the way you get there, guys, the way you get this authority in your CV is by doing impactful research, not case reports, but at the top of the pyramid of evidence, publishing systematic reviews and meta-analysis. I'm going to teach you how to do that on the third part of the talk today. The way you're going to build this authority is by getting results, not just doing research, but by getting results. What are the results? The results of meaningful publications are abstracts presented at great conferences and manuscripts published in great journals. Okay, so many people don't know this. If you know this, just bear with me for 1 minute. But many people don't know this, that when you do a research project, you can get both results out of this. You can get a conference abstract where you present your abstract at a great conference internationally. It's just a summary of the main topics. The peer review is not super rigorous like it is for a paper. And when you submit to a conference, make sure you do it for a meaningful conference. Don't submit to your local symposium in your medical school. Of course, you could do that too, but make sure to also submit it to a national or international conference. That is what will ultimately give you the authority. Let me show you some examples. This here is Igor. Igor is a 6-year medical student in a small town in Brazil. And this here, he won an award at the European Conference of Orthopedics. That is what I mean by impact. That is a major conference internationally, the European Orthopedic Conference. And he won an award as a best poster in the shoulder category in orthopedics. These are students of the Publication Roadmap and Meta-Analysis Academy, most of them, that had abstracts presented at the American Heart Association. It's a national, international conference. So what I'm telling you this for is because you have to make that distinction between these major conferences and your local symposiums and your medical school research day. You really have to aim for these types of conferences and awards and presentations. But the major trophy of your research efforts will be the paper in PubMed. This is what you really need. You need to get your publication, especially as first author, in great journals like this one, the British Journal of Hematology. Tomás is now an internal medicine resident at the University of Colorado, and this publication and others helped him to match. These strong publications in great journals and abstracts presented at major conferences will give you the authority that you need to have a strong CV and be competitive. So you need to go all the way to get the manuscript. The manuscript has higher value, the peer review is more critical, and it's a detailed report of methods results. So what I'm going to teach you applies for you to get both abstracts in international conferences and the manuscripts published in great journals. And we're going to do it at the top of the pyramid of evidence. We're going to do it with impact. I'm going to teach you how to do it with autonomy, but also impact. So this is what you need. Like Raphael published in the European Journal of Trauma and Emergency Surgery. He's like a third or fourth year medical student when he did this at the European Journal of Trauma and Emergency Surgery, comparing surgical versus non-surgical treatment of flail chest. And these other publications in intensive care, in endocrinology, in neurosurgery, these are just some examples of what will transform your career. This is what I'm talking about. It's important to understand that this is not low-value case reports. You will not learn that from me. I will not teach you that. I will teach you how to publish at the top of your pyramid of evidence research that makes sense. And if you think it's impossible for you to do it, you have to watch class 2 today, which will talk about breaking barriers. Okay, but let's talk about some of these research goals. Okay, to get you these goals, when you apply for residency or a PhD, it will not matter if you did research. It will not matter if you did case reports. It will not matter if you spend time collecting data from charts. What will matter is results, is impactful, meaningful results. That's what really matters. And that's what I'm here to tell you, how to get impactful results. So I'm just making this distinction between low value research and impactful research, which I will teach you here how to get. So a lot of you guys said Go is residency application, like Mabula here. Mabula said Go is residency application. So let's talk about this. And then we're going to also talk about a scholarships for a master's. We're going to talk about all of these. Let's talk about residency in the United States first. Remember, this is the why. This is the why you are doing this, why you are here. So the why for residency in the United States, this is data from Match Cycle 2 cycles ago in 2022. They haven't updated this information as quickly as one would like. So back then, the number of publications and abstract presentations for international medical graduates like myself and most of you to match into competitive specialties like general surgery was 19. In neurology, 11. Internal medicine, 6. How is it that you, a medical student in Colombia, in India, in Ghana, how is it that you're going to get there without research opportunities locally? That's what I'm going to tell you and teach you in the third part of today's. But first, the why. First, why you need to do it, because you need to publish to be a competitive applicant for the match. Most people focus a lot of energy on step 1, but step 1 is pass or fail. You need to get to a place where you're comfortable that you're going to pass. But back in my day, we had to study until a 270, 260. But now it's a different story. Now you focus on getting to the point where you're going to pass, but then you need to build the other components of your application. Everyone passes step 1. Not everyone will match. The people who match will be the people who stand out in other components. Like Tomas, for example. This slide was put together when he was applying, but he matched. He matched into internal medicine at the University of Colorado. And he matched with strong publications like the one I showed you in the British Journal of Hematology, like this other one here in the Journal of Interventional Cardiac Electrophysiology, like Gabriella, who I did a live stream with her. Many of you watched it. Gabriella matched into Harvard Medical School, Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center, one of the Harvard hospitals, into general surgery. She has more than 20 publications, more than 20. Remember, I showed you the average for general surgery is 19. She has more than 20 publications. And she did the same journey that you guys are doing right now. Watch the publication roadmap, join the Meta-Analysis Academy. This is Yasmin. Yasmin matched an OB/GYN at the University of Missouri. This is also very, very competitive. OB/GYN is a surgical specialty, therefore it is very competitive. Okay, and these are just some of our students who matched into general surgery, anesthesia. I did a live stream with Danusa. Many of you guys met her. Danusa is from Mozambique. She tells me she's the first match ever from the country of Mozambique, the first person from Mozambique to come to the United States for residency. So that's just to show you how publications can be transformative in your own careers. Now let's talk about fellowship. Is anyone listening to me today already a resident? Is someone already a resident right now? Let me know in the chat. I will show some examples of people who learned this as residents to match into fellowship. Like myself, I really wanted to get into a competitive cardiology fellowship. So Augusto, for example, matched, he's from University of Connecticut. He matched at Cleveland Clinic in pulmonary critical care, a really strong specialty at a really strong program. He learned how to publish meta-analysis like you guys, and ultimately was successful in this match. And then Eduardo did his training at the University of Connecticut also, and he matched into Harvard at Massachusetts General Hospital for pulmonary critical care as well. With multiple publications, Eduardo has 19 publications in his PubMed. Gilson is a close friend. He's also here in Boston. He did internal medicine residency with me in Miami, and we started publishing together. Remember, I told you to invite your friends. He was a friend, and we started publishing together. And he helped me in my projects. I helped him in his own projects. We published a lot of papers together. And ultimately, he matched into Massachusetts General Hospital, Harvard Medical School, for cardiac electrophysiology. And he has multiple papers in cardiology and electrophysiology. So whether it's cardiology or pulmonary critical care or orthopedics, having these publications will help you in these goals. Let's talk about research fellowship. Many of you guys were saying that you're interested in doing a research fellowship. Well, let me tell you something. When they hire you to do a research fellowship, let's say you want to come to the United States to do a research fellowship. They're hiring you to do research. So what is the number one thing that they will look for in your CV to know if you're good at doing research? It's your track record in publications. So a lot of medical students, because you don't have opportunities locally, you say, you know what? I'm just going to wait until I'm done with medical school, and then I'm going to apply to a research fellowship in the United States. But the problem with that is that if you don't have publications, when you get to this application, people are not going to give you credit. You need to show that you're already able to write, to do statistics, to know publications, so that they can hire you, so that they can be interested in hiring you for this. Don't expect to show up empty-handed and people give you a research fellowship opportunity. Take the example from Carlos, for example. Carlos wants to do radiology. He published a lot of radiology papers with autonomy, connecting with a strong group in our community and the Meta-Analysis Academy. And now he is a research fellow at the University of Michigan. He is doing research fellowship in radiology. He's getting paid for this. This is a paid research fellowship. And he's doing super well, publishing a lot of papers there in his research fellowship. Isabella is a research fellow at Harvard Medical School. Sorry, this wasn't translated. So she's a research fellowship at Harvard Medical School. She's published a lot of papers in pediatrics and other specialties as well. And this made her application strong to achieve this goal as a research fellow here. Enrique is interested in OBGYN, obstetrics and gynecology. This is him presenting in Paris at the Federation International of Gynecology and Obstetrics, FIGO. And with his impactful research, he was offered a position as a research fellow in obstetrics and gynecology at the University of Miami, with a really prominent person in fetal medicine. So this is the way for you to get your research fellowship. Make sure you publish a lot of papers first. But maybe you're more advanced in your career. Maybe you're finishing school. Maybe you're not even in the medicine. You're a biotech. You're a nurse. You are a nutritionist. And maybe you want to do a master's or a PhD, or you're a doctor who wants to do the master's or a PhD. Well, to be competitive for these positions, you really should learn how to publish. Anna was still in medical school when she applied. She's still in medical school, and she applied for master's in the United States. She was accepted to multiple universities and ultimately decided to go to the University of Miami. And the reason why she was so competitive is because she had a lot of publications before when she applied for the master's. This is a really good story, guys. This person you see here, this friend, is Luca. Luca applied to Johns Hopkins master's program. But not only did he get into the master's, but he also got a scholarship. A master's at Johns Hopkins costs $70,000 per year, more or less. It may be a little bit less, a little bit more. So $70,000 for a master's program. Now, Luca did not need to pay that. He won a full scholarship. How did he win a full scholarship? Having impactful publications. He had a strong CV. He presented in conferences where he's from and worldwide. He published papers, and he built a strong CV that helped him get a full scholarship for a master's at the Johns Hopkins University. Okay? Now, maybe you're interested in doing an observership or a clerkship. You can build connections through your research to help you get there. Let me show you the examples of these guys. This is Andre and Marcelo. Andre and Marcelo, they achieved an observership, in Boston through connections that they had through someone that they published with. So they had a research project. They invited someone here in the United States. They worked with this person in multiple projects and ultimately got an observership here in Boston as well. Okay, so you can open networking opportunities through your research. Okay, and this will help you in residency as well. You know, this is Yuri, who is a resident right now at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. And Yuri will apply to cardiology. So he is doing publications to boost his application. As a resident, he is working really hard on publications like this one, the same way that I will teach you. Okay? Now, maybe you're a doctor already and you're just trying to boost your authority to your patients and your peers. We have multiple of our students who have done that, like Leonardo, who is a mastologist, who treats breast cancer. He published a lot. He publishes a lot, and this gives him authority with his peers and his colleagues. Same thing with Sarah, who teaches a lot in anesthesia, and having publications really puts her at the forefront of teaching. It really makes her stand out as a teacher. She's now hired by Duke University to be a research coordinator, research fellow at Duke University. So she was from Brazil. She started publishing a lot, and she's very knowledgeable in anesthesia. And then she got this research opportunity at Duke. Okay? Alan is a neurosurgeon, for example. These publications really put him writing guidelines, giving talks in neurosurgery meetings. These are the opportunities that you will have in your career if you learn how to do publications. All right? So you might be even a first-year medical student. Like, why should I join this? Why should I learn how to get publications? Well, it's because you can follow in the footsteps of people who have done extraordinarily well, even as first years, like Carol. Carolini, and Larissa. Even as first-year medical students, they're publishing like Lais. They're publishing and presenting in great conferences. This is the Endocrine Society in Chicago in the United States. And this opens opportunities for them as medical students in their local universities and, of course, in their careers beyond. Okay? So that is a wrap on the reason why you should do it. And I really wanted to share with you guys this message because this is really powerful. If you think you can achieve this, if you think you can do it, you will get there with the way that I show you. But if you think that this is not for me because I'm in a country that doesn't give me opportunities, because this doesn't work for me, you will not get there. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are right. And I'm here to tell you that you can, okay? So if these are any of your goals, if you want to apply for residency, fellowship, research fellowship, a master's, a PhD, this is for you. This, you should learn how to do publications. So that is the why. That was part one of our class on day one, is the why you are here. How is this going to help you in your career? And I've showed you dozens of examples, but now we're going to the second step, which is even more important. Now we're going to talk about how to overcome barriers for publications. Let me know in the chat, guys, how you feel about this right now. Do you feel confident? Do you feel that you're going to achieve these results as well? Or are you still focused a lot on the barriers? Actually, let me change that question. Tell me yourself, why is it that you haven't published yet? You're clearly interested in publications, but what are the most important barriers for you right now? What are the most important barriers for you right now? Tell me about that. What is holding you back? Okay. Lack of mentor. Okay. Don't know how to start. This is a good one. This is a common one. Time, just very busy. Okay. Lack of mentors. Someone said, there's no one from India. Well, you missed the beginning because you clearly did not see where I showed that choose students from India. Okay. No guidance. No mentor. That's a common one. No research group. This is a common one as well. No research group. Okay. Lack of opportunities. Choosing a topic. How to write. So these barriers, I'm going to help you solve them right now. But remember, I need you to be committed. You know, there were people already who in the chat, they're like, oh, why won't you start? It's because you didn't understand what I'm trying to tell you. What I'm trying to tell you is you have to understand the why, then you understand how. You really have to understand why is it that it's important for you to achieve these publications. And some of you may know more or less, but there are a lot of people that are still clueless about why is it so important for them to achieve these publications. Now we're going to talk about these barriers. Why is it that you don't have any publications yet? You guys listed these in the chat, okay? Some of you said no time. Some of you said no mentors. Some of you said you have to pay a publication fee. Statistics are an important barrier. Lack of institutional support. No idea how to start, or your environment holds you back. So what I'm going to do right now for the second part of this class is to really walk you through how to overcome each of these barriers. Okay? Now we're going to talk how you're going to systematically overcome each and every one of these. Things will be different at the end of this roadmap tomorrow. You have to go with me until the end. You know, if you leave right now, I'm sorry, it was a disappointment, a waste of time. Okay, you really have to go until the end to understand how to do this, how to achieve similar results to the one I've showed you. And remember, don't be a gatekeeper. Share this with your friends as well. So there will come a time in your career, maybe 1 year from now, maybe 3 or 5 or 7 years from now, that you will have to apply for the positions that we just talked about. You will apply for residency, you will apply for fellowship, you will apply for a PhD. On that day, it will not matter if you did research or if you did case reports or if you presented in your medical school symposium. It's really about results. It's really about high quality publications It's not just having research, it's having the results of research, high quality publications, which I'm going to teach you how to do it, and presentations at relevant scientific meetings worldwide. Not the local, the regional conference, presentations at national or international meetings. This is what will help you achieve that goal, like publishing in neurosurgery, like Fernando, for example. And this part of the class is about scratching the impossible and telling you and showing you how to overcome these barriers. Okay? Now, I want to, before I do that, I want to give you explain a little bit about the terminology. You guys have seen me say Meta-Analysis Academy, and you've seen me say Publication Roadmap. I want to be very clear about the difference between those two. The Publication Roadmap is this 2-day webinar, today and tomorrow, where I will teach you how to overcome barriers. I will teach you tomorrow about mentorship. I will teach you during our program the 10-step method for you to do research publications with autonomy. So this is the Publication Roadmap today and tomorrow, this webinar. The next step for some of you who decide to join will be the Meta-Analysis Academy. The Meta-Analysis Academy is a 10-week program where I teach you in detail, step by step, how to publish papers with autonomy. All the examples that you've seen here today and that you will see throughout our journey are of people who did the Publication Roadmap and then went ahead and took the next step and joined the Meta-Analysis Academy. So if you're interested in doing this, pay attention to what I'm going to say. If you know the Meta-Analysis Academy or you're interested in learning more, you would join this separate group. This is not the Publication Roadmap webinar group. You will join the separate group if you're interested. If you're not interested, it's totally fine. But if you're interested, if you want to join, if you want to take the next step and join the Meta-Analysis Academy, make sure to join this group where today and tomorrow will give you high yield information about the program. But let's keep going. And our group, my team will put the link in the chat as well. But let's go ahead and keep going and talk about the barriers of publications. And I'm going to show you specifically how you can overcome these barriers with one method. And that method is going to be systematic reviews and meta-analysis. Systematic reviews and meta-analysis offer a great opportunity for you to publish high-impact papers. The other day, I was talking to a colleague from Lebanon. And in Lebanon, he's published, I can't remember the number, but it was more than 20 or 30 papers in orthopedics. He's from Lebanon. And the way he published so much was systematic reviews and meta-analysis. It doesn't matter where you're from, your country, you can learn how to publish impactful papers and overcome these barriers by doing systematic reviews and meta-analysis. And just because not everyone will be familiar already with what this method consists of, I brought here a brief overview for you guys. This is a publication that I did a few years ago, and it's a systematic review and meta-analysis. So I want to explain to you what this is and why it's so powerful. Guys, a meta-analysis is when we put together the results of studies that are similar to each other. We put studies that are similar to each other, and we create a new result. This new result is the meta-analysis. For example, over here in this paper that I published, there's 7,000 patients, but they're not patients from the University of Miami where I was at the time. I was a resident. They're patients from the world. They're patients from North America, from Europe, from Asia, from South America. These are patients from all over the world. And we just put them together. We joined these papers together to create a new result. That new result is the meta-analysis. So meta-analysis is when we collectively analyze studies that are similar to each other. And interestingly, the results of the meta-analysis can be different than all the individual studies. That's actually what I showed here. How many studies do we see here? We see 6, 9, 12, 13 studies. But individually, none of them showed what I showed in the meta-analysis. So it's got a lot of power and strength in analyzing data together. And that's how you will learn how to publish with autonomy. It's by doing systematic reviews and meta-analysis. Systematic review is the process to find those studies, A meta-analysis is the process by doing the combined statistics, analyzing the statistics together of the papers together. So a meta-analysis is the quantitative synthesis of studies that are similar to each other. That is what I'm going to show you in this publication roadmap. And with the meta-analysis, we're going to overcome barriers for publications. The publication roadmap, guys, is the way to publish systematic reviews and meta-analysis to transform your career. Meta-analysis in my career and all the careers of these colleagues that I've showed you, meta-analysis are the gateway for you to publish high-impact papers with autonomy. Because you can do it from anywhere in the world. The patients are not yours. You can do it from a small town in Brazil. You can do it from a giant city in Europe. You can do it from a rural site in India. As long as you have internet connection and you know the methods that I teach you, you can do high-impact publications with meta-analysis. So let's talk about some of these barriers that you guys have put forth. And I'm going to teach you how you can overcome them with meta-analysis. So let's talk about the time barrier, okay? Let's say you're doing a clinical trial or a cohort study. You really have to work hard to get that done. If you're going to do a clinical trial, you have to set up a protocol. You have to pass it through the ethics committee. You have to recruit patients, get informed consent, extract the data, follow the patients, look at the outcomes, analyze the data. And this will take months and years and years. With a meta-analysis, you don't need to go to the ethics committee. The patients are not yours. The data is already publicly available. You don't need to collect data from patients. You don't need to get informed consent. You don't need to recruit the patients. You do not need to extract the data from patient charts. The outcomes are already available to you, and the data analysis is quick. So a meta-analysis actually is super quick. And if you're a busy person, if you're busy in medical school, if you're busy as a resident, if you're busy as a surgeon, the busier you are, the more attractive the meta-analysis will be to you. The busier you are and the less time that you have, the more you have to learn meta-analysis. When I was a first-year resident working up to 80 hours a week, I worked on about 5 to 7 meta-analysis as a first-year resident, working 80 hours per week. When? Nights, weekends, holidays. I would just work every inch of free time, but that gives me results. That gave me results. Whereas if I was doing something else like this, if I was collecting data from charts, it would take me years, months, and I wouldn't have a fraction of the results. So meta-analysis are really quick. That's how you overcome the barrier of lack of time. You do meta-analysis which are quick. And how quick are they exactly? How quick are these meta-analysis? Well, turns out they're super quick. Let me show you this own publication that I did a few years ago. So I was walking home one day and I was thinking about cardiology, which is my field. I was coming home from the hospital and I said, wow, I think I have an idea to do a research project. And I'm going to show you how to develop ideas in our webinar here as well. So that's in part 3 of the class today. So I was looking at this and I said, wow, I think this may be a good idea. So I got together a group of people that I know, and we worked on it for 10 days, and the abstract was done. 9 days to be more precise. We submitted the abstract to the American College of Cardiology in 9 days, from idea to submission of the abstract. And then we spent the next 4 weeks working on the paper. We were just working on the paper and writing it and doing everything that was needed. And we sent it to a senior author. We sent it to a person who's very prominent in cardiology. So we sent this paper to them 4 weeks later. And then this person had some feedback. He said, you guys got to improve this and that, and you got to do this better, change this. So he gave us a lot of feedback to improve the paper. 4 weeks later, after going back and forth with the senior and making the changes, we finally submitted it to a journal. So look, from the original idea to submitting it to the journal, it was only 8 weeks. only 8 to 9 weeks from developing the idea to submitting it to the journal. And I was a resident working full-time, very busy. It's at the time of the holidays. So you can still do it very fast, even though you're a resident, you're very busy. So we submitted to the journal, they rejected, we submitted to another journal, they asked for revisions, and then finally it was accepted 5 weeks or 3 months later, because the journals take time to review the paper. But what was in our control, which is developing the idea and writing the paper, was super fast. It was super fast. It was just in 4 weeks to get the first draft, and then 8 weeks total time to get it submitted to the first journal. Okay, so but you may think, oh, that's because it's Randerson, he's super smart, but it's not. It's just the method allows you to do that. This publication by Patricia is a 4th year medical student, guys. 4th year. She did this publication in 7 weeks from beginning to submission. This is Rodrigo. He did this one in 3 months from beginning to submission. This is Lucas. He did this in 2 weeks from beginning to submission. This is one of the top anesthesia journals worldwide. Are there any anesthesiologists here? Let me know if you're interested in anesthesia or if you're an anesthesiologist. If you are an anesthesiologist or interested in, you would know that this is one of the top journals in anesthesia. This is a 4th year medical student who did this paper in 2 weeks. Okay? In 2 weeks from beginning to submission. This is Yuri. He's working up to 80 hours a week. He's a 1st year resident in internal medicine. In the middle of residency, he did this publication. So time is clearly of the essence for him. You know, I just met him last week personally. I had the opportunity to meet him in London. And Yuri saying, hey, man, my 1st year was basically, I worked a lot in the hospital, really long hours. And I used to get home at night and do research. And I got all these publications. It's because you get quick results from meta-analysis. All right. So this is Carlos. Carlos won an award at the American Hernia Society. I think it's a meeting in hernia in the United States. Hernia Surgery Award. Okay. So this is an award by the American Hernia Society, AHS. And he's interested in doing general surgery in the United States. And he published a paper, he got the award, he's done really well. And you can see that he actually did this really fast. He did this publication in just a few weeks, okay? So this is what's available to you guys. You can actually publish impactful papers by doing things quickly.
So you came up with this idea 2 weeks before the deadline meeting, is that right? Before the deadline for the meeting?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
That's incredible. Let's talk a little bit about how it's possible to do a research of this importance, of this magnitude in such a short period of time and still get it presented at a major conference like this and get an award. Let's go back in time. What was your research experience in medical school? Do you have already a lot of research experience? Have you published a lot of papers in medical school? What has been your journey until now?
Yes, actually, I think that my situation is very similar to another Brazilian students, not only Brazilians, I think, but students along the world. My experience was based only in cohort studies and case reports, which takes a long time to be performed. Actually, we need to collect data and work with data, and yes, that was my experience before Meta-Analysis Academy.
So he did not have research experience before, just case reports, like he said, and then he learned this method in the Meta-Analysis Academy, and in 2 weeks he did this, and he won an award in general surgery at the American Hernia Society and published this paper. So this is the time barrier. A lot of our students are surgeons, residents, interns. Everyone is super busy. Most of them are very busy. All of them are really busy. But meta-analysis gives you guys the opportunity of doing impactful research, impactful publications in a short period of time. Now, let's talk about mentorship. Now, a lot of you guys put lack of mentors as a barrier. Okay, so for example, before I go on and talk about mentors, this colleague from OBGYN Hub said there's not enough time. Residency is very hectic. I'm sure residency is very busy in the UK. There's all sorts of issues we see in the news, but it's also very busy in the US. It's also very busy in India. It's also very busy in Brazil. Residency is a very complicated time. And again, the busier you are, the more you really need to learn this research method. Because if you learn this, even as a resident, working 80 hours a week, 60, 100, you can still put in a little bit of extra time that will get you quick results. That is the difference. Because if you had time, you could do a clinical trial, you could do a cohort study, you could wait 3 months for the ethics committee. But because you don't have time and you want results, results matter in your application, then what happens is you really have to go on and publish high impact papers with autonomy in the little amount of time that you have. Okay, let's talk about mentors. Let's talk about, better yet, the lack of mentors. Okay, how can you overcome? Well, in meta-analysis, you choose your mentors. It's not that you will ask for opportunities. Please help me. Please give me a research opportunity. No, you will invite people to collaborate in your work. So it's really different than anything else. Like the example from Julia. Julia published in one of the top journals in neurosurgery called Neurosurgery. This is a really prominent journal in that field. And Julia published as his first author, but she invited a prominent neurosurgeon from Brazil, a really respected neurosurgeon, to be collaborator in her work. She did not know him before. He was not from her medical school. She just sent out an email. She invited this person to collaborate with her. She sent an email saying, hey, this is the project that I have in mind. This is what I've done so far. I would love to have your mentorship in this program. And she got his support. So when you have the idea, when you have the project, when it's your research, you get to invite other people to collaborate. Okay? So again, she invited this doctor who's very prominent. He's from the University of São Paulo. He was there at the time. And she sent an email to invite him. Look at this other great story. Tomás, who I've showed you before, he's now a resident at the University of Colorado. He was doing an observership. Look at this story. It's phenomenal. He was doing an observership to get a letter of recommendation, and he developed his own project, and he invited one of the attendings in the observership to collaborate in his work. So because it's your project, it's your idea, it's your statistics, you don't depend on anyone else, you can invite others. You can invite someone in your institution, in another state, in another country. You can invite anyone you want. Obviously, not all of them will accept it, but the chances of you finding a great mentor are much higher. They're so much higher because you're not asking for an opportunity. You're bringing an opportunity for collaboration. And that is really a major, major difference. Look at the case from Enrique. This is a great story. This guy's a 4th-year med student. And he went ahead and he told his professors, hey, I have an idea to compare right or left endomyocardial biopsy for patients who have cardiomyopathies. And he did it, and he invited his professors. Can you imagine how blown away they were by this 4th-year medical student who brings the opportunity for collaboration? Let's hear out from Enrique about this.
I told Professor, I have a systematic review basically ready. We have the results, we have the first plot, we have everything. I would like to know if you want to be part of this, to be our senior author. And we got a meeting, I presented everything, and he accepted, and he helped us in the process. So he got really amazed how I read him with everything ready. And this is exactly what you say in the course.
Yeah, it's exactly it. I mean, it's beautiful that you're able to present yourself as someone not who asks for opportunity, but someone who creates the opportunity. It's totally a game changer.
So that's it, guys. It's a game changer. You will create the opportunity
I
for collaboration. Okay. So instead of not having mentors, you go and find your mentors by bringing them the opportunity for collaboration. I told you, there's these guys, Marcelo and Andre. They invited someone from Harvard, from Boston, to collaborate in their work, and they've published together. And then they came to do an observership here. They're not in Boston, they're not in the United States, but they invited folks here to collaborate in their work. Okay? So the next barrier you have to overcome is that you think that you have to pay for publications. Look what this colleague said. How do you pay for the publications? It's thousands of dollars. That is incorrect. And I'm going to explain to you about publication fees right now. Okay, this is a mistake. It's a misconception that a lot of people have, that you think you have to pay for publications. And that's just simply not true. So you do not have to pay for publications. Let me repeat that. You do not have to pay for publications if you follow these principles that I will explain to you right now. How much does it cost to do a meta-analysis? Zero. It doesn't cost anything. You don't need to pay for the software, okay? You don't need to pay for statisticians. You don't need to pay for anything. You don't need to pay anything to do a systematic review and meta-analysis. That is important for you to understand. There is also no publication fee in the best journals. And that is really the key. You have to get your research at a level, at a quality that you will publish in the best journals. It is only this factor that will guarantee that you don't have to pay a publication fee. So when you do your research, there are two types of journals where you can submit it to. You can submit it to an open access journal, or you can submit it to a subscription-based journal. So what is this? What is an open access journal and a subscription-based journal? Well, let me tell you a secret. These journals, they're owned by editors. They're owned by like Elsevier, Wolters-Kluwer, like they're owned by editors. And these editors, these publishing companies, they make money. They're for profit. They actually make a lot of money. They make a ton of money. And the reason they do that, guys, is that they charge money either from the authors or from the subscribers. They either charge you as author for a publication fee, and then they make it open access to everyone who wants to read it, or they don't charge you, but they charge subscriptions from the universities and from people who want to read the paper. So if you're a researcher, obviously you want to submit it to the subscription-based journal. You want to submit this to the journal that will not charge you a fee. That's important, because then you will not have to pay anything. The subscribers, the readers, the universities who want access to that will pay. But the key is you have to know which journals are subscription-based. Open access journals are lower ranking journals, generally speaking, and subscription-based journals that don't charge you, author, they're harder to get into. They're higher ranking journals. So the key really, if you don't want to pay anything, is that you have to get your research at such a high quality that you will be appealing to journals that don't charge publication fees. And out of the papers that I've showed you, the papers of our students, 95% of them are in journals that don't charge anything. 95% of the papers of our students are in journals that do not charge a publication fee. Why is that? It's because they're meta-analysis. They're high quality research done at the highest level that they can get into great journals worldwide. So the key for you to get there is stop doing low value research. Stop doing things that are less relevant, case reports and poor quality method studies. Learn how to do the best type of evidence that there is. Of course, it has to be well conducted. Meta-analysis can totally be garbage as well. Let me put it out there. Okay, you have to do a high quality research, good methods, good idea, good results, nice writing. If you do everything correctly, you get impact, you get strength, you get a top journal that doesn't charge a publication fee. And that's exactly what I teach our students in the Meta-Analysis Academy. Like this one here. This is by Isabella, who I've shown you previously. She was a medical student in Russia at the time. She published in pediatric dermatology. How much did she pay to publish in pediatric dermatology? Zero, nothing, no dollars, because it's not an open access journal. It's a subscription-based journal. If you go to pediatric dermatology, they will always give you the option to make it open access. Like if industry is publishing a paper, they want to pay so that everyone can read their paper. They want the paper to serve as advertisement. But for you, as an author publishing in pediatric dermatology, you're not going to publish open access. You're not going to charge you anything. And you're going to publish in this great journal. And then they can go ahead, when you have your paper accepted, you transfer copyright. You give them the authority to go and sell your paper, and then they make money off of it. But you don't have to pay anything. Okay? Is everyone clear on that? Did everyone understand that you do not have to pay anything? Yes? Okay? Like, look at this other example here. If I wanted to read the paper by Rafael Lombardi, who's an anesthesiologist, I have to pay, or get it through my institution. I have to pay because Rafael didn't pay. He, as an author, did not make this open access. He published it in the Canadian Journal of Anesthesia. So he did not pay, but readers or institutions or universities have to pay. All right? So whenever you get your paper accepted in a subscription-based journal, they give you the option of open access. And if you choose under the subscription-based, there is no authorship publication charges. Zero, guys. $0. You don't have to pay anything to publish. And again, 95% of the papers from our students are in journals that don't charge you a fee. So just simply avoid open access journals. Okay, what about going to conference? Now, let's say you are from India and you got your paper accepted in Vienna, in Austria, at the European Gastroenterology Week. Do you have to pay? Do they pay for you? No, you have to pay for your own travel for conferences. That, if you want to go to a conference, you have to pay for your own travel. But you can apply for travel grants. So a lot of these conferences have grants for international students to go and travel. So Jessica, for example, won $2,500 as a grant to travel to Phoenix, Arizona for the International Stroke Conference. She won an award, and she won the Paul Dudley White International Travel Award, and she won $2,500. Why? Why did she get this award? Because she did a great paper, guys, a great abstract. It's all in the impact of the research. This is what I'm trying to share with you. Don't waste your time with poor quality things. She did a meta-analysis, great quality. She's one of our students from the Meta Academy, and then she won this award. And Catalina, I think Catalina is from Colombia. I may be mistaken, but I think Catalina is from Colombia. She won an award to the British Society of Hematology. She won 750 pounds to go there and present her work. And I mentioned the European Gastroenterology meeting in Vienna. We have a second-year med student from our team, from our students, who won a travel award to go there as well. So these travel awards, they're not very common, but they're definitely out there. You can go and apply for them as well. And if you don't get a travel award and you don't have money to travel internationally, you don't have to go and present, even if you are first author. One of your co-authors can go and present, okay? All right? One of your co-authors can go and present for you. So is that clear on publication fees? Everyone get that? Everyone understand? You do not have to pay publication fees. Let's talk about another important barrier, guys, which is statistics. Okay, statistics. All right. Someone just asked if they're going to be our first Nigerian student. Unfortunately not. We already have students from most countries in the world. Last time we checked, it was 80 countries. We have one student from Nigeria who comes to mind. I actually posted him on Instagram a few weeks ago, presenting at an American conference. I posted a picture of him. So sadly, no, but we would love to have you as our Nigerian, as part of our Nigerian team. Okay, we have students from 80 countries in the Meta-Analysis Academy. All right, guys, so meta-analysis statistics now, they're quite simple. Okay, so you guys think that it's super hard to do statistics for meta-analysis. You know, it's funny because I think it's because it's at the top of the pyramid of evidence, so everyone thinks it's complicated. But actually, it's the other way around. It's at the top of the pyramid of evidence. It has the highest impact if it's well done. But then the statistics are actually quite simple. So people have this impression that it's going to be so crazy. But let me tell you this. Look at this publication from Isabella. This was actually the first publication of Meta Academy students. This was back in 2022. I started the project 2 years ago. And in this publication that Isabella published in the European Journal of Pediatrics, guys, guess how long it takes to do this statistics right here? Tell me in the chat, just give me a guess. How long do you think it takes to run this statistics and get this graph? Just give me a sense. Just a guess. Was it 1 day, 1 hour, 1 week? Tell me how long. How long does it take to run the statistics right here? It's about what Michael said right here, okay? It's about 7 minutes, okay? It could be a little bit shorter, a little bit longer. Of course, you have to know how to operate the software. I'm not talking about learning. Learning is, there's a learning curve, but which is also very quick. But once you know how to do it, it's 5 minutes. It's so quick to do this forest plot, okay? So you have to understand, you don't have to learn statistics in depth to the sense that you have to run the math yourself. What you need to learn to do well in statistics and meta-analysis is learn how to operate the software that does the statistics for you and understand the principles. So you have to understand the principles of statistics, when to do that or that statistics, but the software will run it for you. What you need to do is operate the software. And we'll teach you how to do this in the Meta-Analysis Academy. It's actually quite simple, at least some of the software. Some of the software are more complex. All right, next, we're almost done with our list of barriers here. Support from your institution. Okay, many of you, in fact, tell me what institutions you guys are from here in the chat, if you don't mind. You may not have support from your institution for research. You may not have dedicated research time, great mentors, a coach of research locally, but thankfully you don't need any of that to do meta-analysis. You do not need any institutional support to do this. Okay, remember that publication that I did? I was at the University of Miami. They loved that I did it. I got credit there. People were happy. I got awards as a research awards as a resident, but I didn't need the University of Miami. I didn't need the ethics committee. I didn't need their statistician. I didn't need any support from the institution, University of Miami. I happened to be at the University of Miami at the time, but I could have been, you know, in Pakistan, in India, in Brazil at the time, and I would still have done the same research. Okay, so that's important for you to know, is that you don't need your institution. In fact, you don't even need to be affiliated. A lot of our students have graduated med school 7 years ago, and they're no longer in residency. They're not even affiliated with any institution. You don't need any affiliation because you don't need the medical school, the hospital, or the university for anything, okay? So many of the universities that you guys have put here, you know, from Ghana, Nigeria, Romania, you know, everywhere in the world, they are not necessarily super supportive of your work, but they don't have to be. It doesn't really matter. Like Vanessa, for example, and Rafael, they went to small universities in Brazil. They're not from super prestigious universities. I showed you earlier Shanmukh and Mangesh from India, from Andhra Pradesh. Again, I may have mispronounced that, and from Pune, India. And this was me with them in London when they were presenting their research. They don't need any support of their local universities to do this. There's just no need at all, okay? All right, so next is you don't have any clue where to start. You don't have, how do I start? How do I get a good idea? Well, in the last part of this class, I'm going to tell you how to get good research ideas. Okay, so the thing about how to start is that you need to have ideas. You need to have research ideas. And we posted that free ebook for you guys. Remember, I posted a free ebook on Instagram. If you don't follow us yet, make sure to follow at metaanalysis.academy, at metaanalysis.academy, okay? And when we posted over 2 days ago, we shared a free ebook on how you can develop research ideas. And I will show you guys in this class here today, in the last part of the class, we're almost done with part number 2. I'm going to show you how to get research ideas. Well, let me tell you the secret ingredient for it. The secret ingredient for great research ideas is controversy. If you like orthopedics, you need to learn the controversies in orthopedics. If you like dermatology, you need to learn the controversies in dermatology. But you do not need to be a dermatologist yet. You do not need to be a cardiologist to get great cardiologist ideas. You do not need to be a surgeon to get great surgery ideas. So you can have strong research ideas regardless of your level of training. You know, like Patrick. Patrick published on surgical techniques for lung cancer. You think, wow, he must be a surgeon. He must be a thoracic surgeon. He must be an oncologist. Patrick was a third-year med student when he did this. Third year, it was his idea to compare 2 different surgical techniques for lung cancer. This guy, a third-year med student, had this idea and published it in Surgical Oncology. So again, you can develop these ideas. This is Caroline. Caroline was at the time a first-year med student. First year, she had her own idea of studying the use of polyphenol in polycystic ovarian syndrome. She is not a gynecologist yet. She's not an endocrinologist, but she presented her idea, her work at the Endocrine Society 2023 in Chicago. And she became first author on this major publication at the European Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology. Okay? So you will learn how to develop your own ideas. I will teach you actually in part 3 of the class today. And finally, the last objection that I'll share with you is the lack of a research group. You don't have a community of people that support you. You don't have good mentors we talked about. You don't have colleagues to collaborate with. Does that affect anyone here? Anyone feel like that they don't have the motivation, the support group to really get good research going? Anyone in that boat? Let me know in the group chat, please. But let me tell you, environment is critical. You know, like I told you before, for many of these things, like you don't have mentors, you don't have time, you don't know how to do the statistics, these barriers are easily overcome with meta-analysis. This final barrier, you really need to find that environment. You need to find an environment that will show you that you're capable of and will motivate you. You need to find someone or a group of people that will be supportive, that will help you in your own projects, that will give you research ideas, that will collaborate in your research ideas. So you need to find that environment, but that environment does not need to be physical. That environment does not need to be locally. It could be if you invite your friends to participate in the publication roadmap, like I told you, but you can also find within the community of the Meta-Analysis Academy, or it can be both. A lot of our students have groups locally and groups remotely from people from all over the world. So why am I showing you this picture here? This is Gustavo. Gustavo published his paper at the American Journal of Cardiology. he presented it at the European Society of Cardiology. He did this paper both with his brother, who he knew locally, of course, but also with people international at other sites, people that he met within the Meta-Analysis Academy, within our community. So with meta-analysis, you will create in the Meta-Analysis Academy strong research groups. So these groups will be both by people you know that you invite to join the publication roadmap with you, but also with people from our community, from the Meta-Analysis Academy. You will have strong research groups in our community. And you guys will hear me throughout this 2-day webinar saying about autonomy, 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 autonomy. But you have to understand that autonomy does not mean doing it alone. Autonomy means you know each and every step of the way. You know how to develop ideas, do the methods, do the statistics, do the writing. That's autonomy. But it does not mean you will do it alone. This has to be crystal clear. At no point in this webinar am I saying you will do this alone. Not at all. You will find the right environment. Look at this publication here. This publication has 8 authors. They met inside the Meta-Analysis Academy. They all got together and did a research project in the Meta-Analysis Academy. Actually, they've done more than 8 at this point, this same group. So sometimes Julia will have an idea and lead, then Ophonim, then Jessica, then Anna, then they take turns, then Fernando. They have ideas, they collaborate with each other. So they ask each other to help in their own research groups, within the research groups. Okay, look at this other paper here. It has Enrique and Esther from Brazil, Juliana also, but then also Chris from Ireland. Okay, so there's people from multiple nationalities in our program, like I said, from more than 80 countries in the world. This other paper here has Isabella from Russia, Isabella from Spain, Stara from New York, people from Massachusetts, United States, Ohio, United States, this one from Russia, Spain, Germany. So you will meet a lot of people within our community. Okay, these are our students presenting at the European Society of Medical Oncology, people that met each other inside the Meta-Analysis Academy. This picture was taken in Madrid. Vinicius was a second year med student at the time. Maisa is an experienced oncologist. The others are in med school still. So these research groups will be important in your journey, and you will find them in the Meta-Analysis Academy. Okay, so that's the end of our second class. We still have the third part of the class, which is the how, which is the 10-step method for you to do a meta-analysis with autonomy. Autonomy does not mean doing it alone. Autonomy means knowing all the steps. So I will teach you these steps in part 3 of day 1 of the publication roadmap. Okay, just before we go on, tell me in the chat, please tell me which of these was the biggest shock to you. Which of these was the fact that you learned and you said, wow, I did not know that you could do research and mentorship in this way. Or statistics was simple. I didn't know that you didn't have to pay a publication fee. Which one of these was the greatest news to you about barriers? Let me know, or you knew that this was already entirely possible because you talked about all these barriers. Okay, so Abib here said that timing, that it's fast. This was news to him. It's very fast, 5 to 7 weeks. And then we heard here that there's no idea how to start. Well, you can develop your own research ideas. I'm actually going to show you how in part 3. And then mentorship. Mentorship is a great one. Mentorship, you create the opportunities for mentorship, like I showed you. Publication fee, you do not need to pay anything for the publication fee. Okay, you don't have to pay any publications fee. That you don't do this alone. You will find a strong research group in the Meta-Analysis Academy. The fees part was shocking. Yeah, most people think you have to pay $3,000. You know, these authorships publication charges are really expensive. They're like $2,000, $3,000, but you don't have to pay them at all. Okay? You don't. You will learn how to develop your own ideas. You will learn how to find your research group. Any topic is available, like any specialty of interest, statistics. Let's just to be clear, Just to be clear about this, it's not that the whole statistics is 7 minutes. I just meant that one graph. That one forest plot, it takes about 5 to 7 minutes to do. If you have more outcomes, it will take you longer amount of time, but still very, very quick. All right, so I think everyone's on the same page here. You guys ready for part 3? You excited still? You guys want to learn? So meta-analysis are the gateway for you to publish high-impact papers with autonomy. Take a print of this screen, take a quick snapshot, take a picture, post this on your Instagram, and tag at metaanalysis.academy. Your friends will want to join you for the publication roadmap, and they will form strong research groups with you. So make sure you take a snapshot right now, tag me on Instagram at metaanalysis.academy. Meta-analysis are the gateway for you to publish high-impact papers with autonomy, and I'm going to show you right now the 10-step method for you guys to achieve these publications, okay? All right? So my goal here is to form meta-masters, masters in meta-analysis. And right now, I'm going to teach you the step to get there, the next step to get there, okay? I want you guys to become meta-masters, okay? Like Thiago, like Maísa, like Isabella, like Inês, like Vinicius, okay? I want you guys to find research groups, develop great ideas, write papers, do statistics, all right? So we're done with how to overcome barriers for publications. Now we're going to do the 10-step method to publish high-impact systematic reviews and meta-analysis, all right? This is the last class of day 1 of the publication roadmap. We talked about the why. We talked about overcoming all these barriers. And now we're going to do how. Now we're going to do the 10-step process to publish high-impact papers with autonomy by doing meta-analysis, okay? So that is part number 3. Now, before I do that, I want to have a very important chat with you guys here about the Meta-Analysis Academy. The Meta-Analysis Academy is a 3-month program that explains to you guys in depth with theory and practice how to get this done. So what I will show you right now is 10 different steps for you to develop systematic reviews and meta-analysis. In the Meta Academy, we do these not over 1 hour, but in 3 months. It's not 3 years. It's not 3 days. It's 3 months. In this next 3 months, for those of you who join the Meta-Analysis Academy, we will have hands-on training session with exercises, with examples, with tutoring questions. You get to ask questions directly to me on how to do systematic reviews and meta-analysis. And to join the Meta Academy and to get a special offer, a huge discount, a special bonus, you will join the VIP group. Over there, I'm going to explain to you. Pay attention to what I'm going to say right now. This is really important because I say this and then people forget, they don't pay attention. In the next 24 hours, in between end of day 1 and beginning of day 2, we will put in this group very important information. All right? Very important information in this group about the Meta-Analysis Academy. You have to read everything that I send there. That's why we do it over the weekend. I know some of you guys are working, but we try to do it at a time where people can participate. Over the next 24 hours, and some of this time will be while you're asleep, some of this time will be early morning, late night for you, but over the next 24 hours in this VIP group, we will give you guys, and I'm going to ask my team to put the link in the chat, please. Link in chat. In this VIP group, we will give you all the information that you need to know about the Meta-Analysis Academy. I will give you structure, fees, duration, classes, exercises, mentorship, groups, all the details. And then you can decide if you want to join or not. It's that simple. I hope that you will join. I hope that it will be transformative in your career. I know it will be. It was for me. But if you guys want to join, you have to be well informed. And to be well informed, you have to join the group and you have to read the messages. You have to read what we send there, because I'm going to send there about dates of the classes. I'm going to send about how the schedule works. And then people are going to come and ask, how does the schedule work? Well, I put the information in the VIP group. The reason why I do this, just to be clear, I hope you can't hear the background noise of the airplane. But the reason why I do this is not to take up our time here in the class. Why do you do it in a WhatsApp group? It's because I don't want to take up the time in the class here explaining this to you guys, because not all of you will want to take the next step in your career. Many people are comfortable where you are right now, but a lot of you guys want more. You want to go further. You want to develop research with impact and publications at a next level. If you want to do that and you're interested in the Meta-Analysis Academy, I want you to join the group, because over there, I will tell you in details. This is how it works. This is how the statistics training works. This is how the exercises work. I will give you all this information there. But you have to read it, okay? You have to, and then you decide whether you want to join or not. So this is the link to join the VIP group, okay? In the Meta-Analysis Academy, and right now, in this 10-step process, I'm going to teach you how to do systematic reviews and meta-analysis. But the publication roadmap is a 2-day webinar. The Meta Academy is a 3-month program, hands-on exercises, tutoring sessions, hands-on practical training for you to learn in depth all the steps that I will share right now. Okay? So buckle up. We're going to go in the next 30 to 40 minutes, and then we'll be done. I'm going to teach you the 10 steps methods of doing a meta-analysis. Okay? All right? And the way I learn, Lionel asked, the way I learn is the same way that I'm going to teach you in the Meta Academy. Okay? I'm going to pull up this question here because it's a good one. How did I learn? I learned in the same way that I'm going to teach you in the Meta-Analysis Academy. Strong research groups, hands-on training, practical training, and of course by studying it a lot. Okay, that's exactly what I'm going to teach you in the Meta-Analysis Academy. Okay, very good. So before we go into the 10-step method, what are the advantages of a meta-analysis? I want you to be aware of this. Why is it at the top of the pyramid of evidence? It's because it has higher statistical power. I'm going to teach you what that means. It's because it can look at the overall, the global treatment effect in multiple studies. It's because it will help you to get high impact publications with autonomy, and with that help you advance your career, which was the first part of our talk. It's publications with impact, autonomy to boost your career, to help you to get to the places where you want to go. Okay, so let's talk about power. Let me explain to you what this graph means. Is anyone here interested in cardiology? Let's say a patient is walking here in the street in front of my house, and this patient has a heart attack, This patient is going to get taken to Brigham and Women's Hospital right down the street, and they're going to be treated for their infarct. Today, we treat people with catheterization if it's available. We put a stent in their heart artery and we open the heart artery. But back when this wasn't available, when there was no catheterization or stenting, there were thrombolytics. There still are thrombolytics, of course, for places where catheterization isn't widely available. But there was a time where there was only thrombolytics. But there was also a time when we didn't know that thrombolytics worked and that they saved lives. So in the 1960s, they started doing the first studies on this. And the studies had very little patients, 20 patients, 30 patients, 50 patients. But then what this graph shows you is the cumulative number of studies and patients on these studies of thrombolytics. And for about 10 years, there were only 4 studies with this, and they had accumulated 300 patients. And then by 1980, there were 23 randomized controlled trials on this with 5,000 patients. But look, they kept doing more and more studies for decades, for 3 decades, until they reached the point of 70 studies, 48,000 patients. And why am I showing you this? It's because if you had done meta-analysis as new data became available, if you started looking not at each study individually, but the group, the results collectively of those studies, in early 1970s, we would have found out with 10 studies that this thrombolytic therapy saves lives. And we would be confident that we should apply this in a broader scale. But this was not done so effectively. So people kept doing more studies, more studies, more studies, more studies on thrombolytics. But what this shows is that if we stop looking at studies just individually, study from the United States, study from Europe, study from Asia, if we stop looking at studies individually and look at them collectively, we can arrive to answers faster. We can see more definitive answers quicker by looking at the data in aggregate. And that is the concept of power, statistical power. The more patients you have, the more power you have, and the more confidence you have in the results. So that's why meta-analyses are so powerful. They increase the number of patients and they increase the power. And why does that help you as someone who does meta-analysis? Because of the impact. I told you they're at the top of the pyramid of evidence, but the meaning of that is that you get to publish in the best journals that don't charge you fees, and you get really well cited in the literature. These are some of my examples. I did this as a resident. I was not a cardiologist, I was a resident, and it's published in a good journal, and it's cited by the European Society of Cardiology. Guidelines. Top document in the world on atrial fibrillation. It cites my paper. This is the American Heart Association, American College of Cardiology cites my paper. I was not a cardiologist. I was a fellow in cardiology. This just came out last week. Last week, over the weekend on Sunday, last Sunday. This is the new guidelines on atrial fibrillation. It cites my work. We have a student. Let me tell you this story because it's a good story. We have a student who is Mateus. Mateus is a 5th or 6th year med student. He's almost done with medical school. And he joined the Meta-Analysis Academy when he was in the middle of studying for step 1. He was getting ready for taking step 1 and wanted to learn how to publish. And he did really well. I think he has maybe 5 or 7 papers. He wants to apply for residency in the United States. And recently he sent me a message all excited. He said, Randers, one of my papers was cited in the German guidelines of endocrinology. And he's a med student. He's a medical student. The reason why this happened is because it's a really strong paper. And he got published and he got cited by this fantastic journal. So, but by these guidelines. So you get a lot of impact. This will help you when you apply, for example, for green card or for visas in the United States. Some of them, they look at your expertise, and citations by guidelines are super important. It really helped me in my own application. Okay, so over here, you get a sense of what the power means. This publication of mine has 7,000 patients, but each study individually had 100, 200, 300, 400, and individually they could not figure out what I found out with 7,000 patients, which is that one of the techniques was better than the other for this outcome. Okay, so power is really important in meta-analysis. Now, a systematic review and meta-analysis, let me explain to you the difference of these two. A lot of people don't know. A systematic review is the systematic process by which we're going to find studies that answer a specific question. The systematic reviews has to be pre-specified. The question has to be well organized, and we're going to find all the studies that fit a certain clinical question. A meta-analysis is when we get these studies and we add them. We look at them collectively. We look at them together. So even though technically it could be done, a meta-analysis without systematic review, it's rarely done. most of the time, almost all the time, we do a systematic review and meta-analysis. And that's what I'm going to teach you now, the 10-step process for a systematic review and meta-analysis. Okay, so I'm going to show you now the map. Oh, I went forward too quickly. This is the big moment of our talk today, the map for you to learn systematic reviews and meta-analysis, the 10-step process. You guys excited to learn this? Just while I get a glass of water, tell me in the chat if you're excited to learn the 10-step process to learn how to publish impactful research with autonomy. Yes? Very good. All right, people are very excited here in the chat. Good. Okay, guys. So let's go ahead and discuss the 10-step process by which you will learn how to do this. Okay? So guys, this is the 10-step process of doing systematic reviews and meta-analysis. The reason why there is the logo of the Meta-Analysis Academy here is because it's also the 10 classes of the Meta-Analysis Academy. I will walk you right now through each of these steps. I will explain to you about ideas, about the research question, about viability. I'm going to walk you through each step in this final class of day 1 of the publication roadmap. But it's important for you to understand that in the Meta-Analysis Academy, we spend 1 week and more on each of these topics. So not 3 minutes, not 5 minutes on each topic. I'm going to teach you in the Meta-Analysis Academy in depth, theory behind it, the exercise, tutoring sessions. Each class in the Meta Academy will discuss one of these topics. And right now we're going to go over each and every one of them. But every time I'm going to come back to this for those of you who want to join the Academy, because I teach you in depth over there. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about ideas first. We're going to start right here. Oh, and just before I forget, maybe I'm going to ask my team to do this too. On that link to the VIP group, if you're watching this session and the group is full, if you're watching the recording, just make sure to go to the description of the video, because we're going to leave a second or third or fourth link over there, just because in the past our VIP groups filled too quickly. So even right now, if you try and the group is full, just go to the description of the video and we'll put a new link over there as the groups get filled. Okay, all right. So this is the link right now, and then we'll change it and put it in the description. Guys, let's talk about ideas, team. Let's talk about ideas. Let's say, for example, you're like Samreen. Samreen is interested in cardiothoracic surgery. I have a lot of our students who are interested in cardiothoracic surgery, but maybe Samreen is not a cardiothoracic surgeon yet, or maybe you're not. How can you develop great ideas in cardiothoracic surgery? By the way, what I'm going to explain to you here now is not easy. This is the hardest part of the class. You have to pay really close attention. If you doze off, if you look at that WhatsApp, if you look at Instagram right now, you lost it. Waste of your time. Focus, guys. So how can Samreen develop great ideas in cardiothoracic surgery, or you in dermatology, or you in psychiatry, or you in nephrology? You have to look for the elements of controversy in your field of interest. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that in a very practical and meaningful way. I like this quote. I use it in my classes. All ideas grow out of other ideas. You're not going to copy anyone. Obviously, nothing that I discuss here is plagiarism, but you have to get an inspiration from others, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay? So I'm going to show you a few different methods by which you develop great research ideas. One of them is the bedside. One of them is simply you go to the bedside, have your clinical questions. Maybe you're an intern, maybe you're a resident, maybe you're a doctor already, maybe you're in medical school, going to do clinic, ICU, emergency shifts. And then you say, wow, I just came across this case and I have this clinical question. And then you may go and read about it and you say, you know what? There's actually no controversy in this. I was just ignorant on this topic. I just didn't know. I was just new to this, and it was just a lack of knowledge. But other times you may have a question at the bedside, and then you go to the literature and you say, wow, there's actually a lot of debate on this. People have really been debating this, and there's uncertainty. And when you see that, when you see uncertainty, you will find a research idea for a systematic review and meta-analysis. I told you about Tomás. Again, I forgot to change this for his slide, but Tomás is an internal medicine resident right now at the University of Colorado. He matched. And in this paper that I've shown you a few times already during our conversation in hematology, this paper, he was taking care of a patient with multiple myeloma. And then it was discussing about thromboprophylaxis, and he wasn't sure how should he do thromboprophylaxis for this patient. So then he went and looked in the literature and saw that there was controversy, and he published this. He published this in the British Journal of Hematology. But a lot of you guys are even more junior. A lot of you guys are first or second year medical students. You don't have a lot of clinical questions yet. That shouldn't hold you back. That will not hold you back, okay? Don't look, guys, just at the bedside. If you're starting out in your career, you're going to apply these other methods that I'm going to show you. One of them is looking at recent publications, okay? So look at this example here. This is a publication at the Journal of Neurosurgical Spine, I think, Journal of Neurosurgical Spine, or Neurosurgery Spine. And this is a publication from a group in Virginia. One of our students, Fernando, who's interested in neurosurgery, saw this and said, hey, there is controversy on this topic of early mobilization or bed rest for durotomy. Why? Why does he know there's controversy? Because people are publishing about it. If people are publishing about it, it's because there's controversy on the topic. So Fernando, who was in med school at the time, published a meta-analysis on this topic, early ambulation versus prolonged bed rest or incidental durotomy in spine procedures. So this is a systematic review and meta-analysis that he did, published in the top neurosurgical journal, in a good neurosurgical journal. And his idea came from reviewing the literature. Look at this other example in neurology now. This is looking at an Atkins diet for drug-resistant epilepsy. Antonio is not a neurologist yet. Ale is not a neurologist. Nicole, no. Amanda, no. They're all medical students. They had this idea, Antonio had this idea, by looking at this publication in this top journal called Neurology. Safety, efficacy, and tolerability of modified Atkins diet in drug-resistant epilepsy. So if people are publishing cohort studies, randomized controlled trials on certain topics, it's because there's controversy on those certain topics. And you can have that to spark an idea for you to do a systematic review and meta-analysis. Not all these ideas will be viable. I'll teach you that in step number 3, but a lot of them will be viable. And then you can go ahead and do this publication as well. Do a systematic review and meta-analysis on this same topic. Look in the publication by Antonio. Antonio had this idea from Manrao, and he went ahead and included this publication from Manrao in his own meta-analysis. So he published this, and Manrao was included. That's where he got his idea. Look at this other publication by Tiago and Lucas. Tiago is in ophthalmology. Lucas is a third-year medical student. They published this in Ophthalmology, International Journal of Retina. And where did this idea come from? It came from this publication in a top journal in ophthalmology, Retina. So they saw this idea, they went ahead and published on a similar topic. They did a systematic review and meta-analysis of that topic that they saw. So this is what you guys will have the opportunity to do in your career. Learn how to find good topics by tracking the journals in your area. So if you like gastroenterology, follow those gastroenterology journals. If you like Nephrology, follow those nephrology journals, see what people are publishing, see where the controversies are, and those will give rise to your ideas. Now, some of these people are ophthalmologists, they're specialists, but a lot of these ideas are by first, second med students, second year med students. I showed you Caroline a little bit earlier. She's in the first year of med school, first year, and she developed that idea of polyphenol use for polycystic ovarian syndrome. First year of medical school. Okay, look at this one here. This was published in the New England Journal of Medicine. Most of you have heard about Mounjaro, about the use of tirzepatide. Well, the best evidence from tirzepatide comes from clinical trials like this and this publication by Yasmin. Yasmin is a medical student. She was a fourth year at the time, and she published the efficacy of tirzepatide. She had the idea by seeing the New England Journal publication, and she went ahead and did a systematic review and meta-analysis. Okay, so those are some ways in which you can develop your own ideas. I could also teach you multiple other methods like guidelines, like subgroup analysis, like secondary outcomes, like searching in congresses and in PubMed. But in the interest of time, I'm going to reserve that explanation for people who join the Meta-Analysis Academy. In the Meta-Analysis Academy, we have a whole module on how you can develop your own ideas. And it works so great that you saw Caroline, first-year med student, Lucas, third-year med student, Patrick, third-year med student, many doctors, residents, interns developing ideas. You do not need to be a cardiothoracic surgeon to publish in cardiothoracic surgery. Okay, very good. So let's move on to step number 2, the research question. Guys, step number 2, you're going to organize your idea into this framework, into this PCODE framework. Okay? All right, so you had an idea, now you have to organize it. That's step number 2. Population is the P, I is the intervention, control is the C, control group, O is the outcomes of interest, and T, type of studies. You're going to organize your question in a PCODE format. This will help you do the meta-analysis. Let me give you an example. This is a publication by one of our students. Pay attention because you're going to have to apply this. You really have to focus. Okay? This is step number 2. We're just in step number 2. We're going to go through 10 steps. Okay? Step number 2, build your PCODE question. So look, one of our students had this idea for a meta-analysis. Then step number 2 is to organize it in a PCODE format. And his question was, in patients admitted with acute decompensated heart failure. Okay? Guys, I'm just going to ask people in the chat who are sharing emails, and we're going to block you guys. Don't share personal information here. We've had people who fall victims of fraud by doing this, so we're going to block anyone who shares personal information in the chat, okay? Like email, because people have used that fraudulently, okay? So do not, you have space to connect in the Meta-Analysis Academy to form strong research groups. This is not the place for that. I'm going to ask my team, if anyone asks for personal information or puts personal information, to block them from the conversation, okay? All right, guys, so let's go back to this clinical question. Patients admitted with acute decompensated heart failure is the population of interest. The intervention group is to add SGLT2 inhibitors. The control group is not to add SGLT2 inhibitors. The outcomes are mortality and rehospitalization, and they were looking at only randomized controlled trials. This is the population. This is the intervention. This is the control group. So they're talking about patients with decompensated heart failure, comparing use of SGLT2 inhibitors with no use, looking at mortality, which group dies more or less, and looking at only randomized controlled trials. Why is this important? Because this will serve as a framework for you to do your systematic review. This is what the systematic review consists of. We're going to look for all studies that fit this clinical question. So follow me. I've told you guys that meta-analysis are the synthesis of studies that are similar to each other. So how do we define similar? By looking at that P code question. So for example, in the population, we're looking for decompensated heart failure only. So these two trials would be included because they're in patients with acute heart failure, hospitalized. But if I get a trial that is in outpatients, stable heart failure, I'm going to reject it because it doesn't fit the population of interest. The population was patients in the hospital, decompensated with heart failure, not patients who have heart failure and are at home doing well. So the P code question is really important to serve as the framework by which you will include or exclude studies in your systematic review and meta-analysis. And I showed you an example for the population, but for all of those components, intervention, control, outcomes, types of studies, for all of that, you will follow a similar framework. You will only pay attention. You would only include in your systematic review and meta-analysis studies that fit your P code question. That's why step number 2 is to really build this P code question. It's really important after you had an idea to build a P code question. And that's step number 2. Step number 3 is the most important one in the early phase of the meta-analysis. This is something that will save you guys hundreds of hours of work. You know, I was talking earlier about just how busy we are. I work 1 million hours a week. You guys work 1 million hours a week. No one has time to waste time. That's why understanding viability of a project is so important. Pay attention to what I'm saying. This is going to save you hundreds of hours if you learn how to apply this. In the Meta-Analysis Academy, in step number 3, I teach our students how to find out early on in the beginning of the project, within a few hours of work, if the project is viable or not. What does it mean to be viable? To be viable, guys, means that you will invest time in your work and it will be published. Think about that. I'm not saying you don't have to invest time, but time is quick. I already explained to you that it's quick. 5 weeks, 7 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. It's quick. And you will get results. And how do you know you will get results? By testing viability. Because if your project is not good, if it's dead on arrival, that's a terminology that I've created. Viability is a terminology I've created, and dead on arrival is a terminology I've created. If your project is dead on arrival, if it's dead, if it's a bad idea, if it's not going to be published, it's best that you don't move forward with it beyond step number 3. It's a good thing that you found out that your idea is dead. Imagine working on a project for 6 months or 1 year, like many of you have, and not being able to publish that. Has anyone gone through that experience? I have. Has anyone gone through that experience of just collecting data for 6 months, 1 year, doing some project, and then ultimately being rejected, not publishing, wasting your time on all of that? Anyone? Say hello or yes if you've been through that. Well, in class number 3, I will teach you guys to really do this effectively, okay? So that you do not waste your time, okay? That is really, really important. Okay, so that's step number 3. Step number 3 is viability. And that has to do with this question here, okay, from Ola Tuniji, which is, how do I know if the meta-analysis is well designed? Well, that's a really broad question, but it's really all about steps number 1, 2, and 3. You develop an idea, you build a P code question, and you test viability. When you test viability, you will say, well, this is going to be a huge waste of time. I am not going to invest my time in this. I'm going to kill this project. It is dead on arrival. Or you may say, wow, I found a viable project. I'm going to invest 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks on this project, but it will be published. And that's a concept that I teach you guys in class number 3, okay? In class number 3. All right, so that is it for step number 3. Let's go on to step number 4, which is searching the literature. Once you've determined your P-code question, now you're going to go into the literature and find all the studies that fit your research question. It's like casting a net for fishing, but over here you're not fishing fish, you're fishing for studies that fit your clinical question. So, and you have to learn how to do this. In this example that I really like, you can't just go on PubMed and say multiple myeloma. You're going to find 62,000 studies. It's not practical. It's a bad search strategy. So in class number 4 of the Meta-Analysis Academy, in step number 4, I'm going to teach you step by step how you can do this, including a really effective search strategy. A search strategy needs to be broad, so it includes all your studies that you're looking for, but it can't be too broad so that you have 62,000 studies. It's not practical to triage these, okay? And you can't be too specific. If you start being too specific, you're going to find 5 results. That's too narrow. So you have to find a balance. And I teach you guys in class number 4 and step number 4 how to build that balance. So a search strategy to be effective has to be broad enough so it doesn't miss any studies of interest, but it can't be too broad because then the next stage becomes impossible. How are you going to triage 60,000 studies, 62,000 studies? There's just no way to do it. Step number 5. After you've built this search strategy, now you will go to the medical databases. You will go to PubMed, you will go to Cochrane, you will go to Embase or Scopus. You would go to the databases and find the studies by using your search strategy. If in fact, in some really specific topics like infectious diseases from Latin America, you may even need to use some regional databases like this one here, like LILACs. So in class number 5, I teach you guys about these databases. Then we have class number 6. We're more than halfway done. In class number 6, or in step number 6, you have 62,000 studies. You can't do triage. You have to have a reasonable number because you have to do the triage, also called study screening. Study screening is this. I did a really great search strategy, found 1,000 studies. That's a great number. It's a beautiful number. 1,000 studies you can triage. You're going to find out in the middle of 1,000 studies, which one is it that you want to include in your meta-analysis and systematic reviews, and which one is it that you want to exclude. You will exclude the ones that don't fit your P-code question. You will include the ones that fit your P-code question. So in this example that I've given you, I want to include this study, exclude, exclude, include, exclude. But how you're going to do this, it's not manual like this. It's not in the way that I'm showing you right now. You're going to do it using software. You're going to use one of these software to help you do this work. Some of them are free, and you don't actually need to pay anything to do this with software. Remember, I told you earlier, it costs $0 to do a meta-analysis. You can do this with free software like Zotero, like Ryan. Okay, step number 7. Now that you've done all of that, now that you've done the triage, guys, it is time to do extraction. It is time to do extraction. Extraction is getting ready for statistics. Extraction is setting the table for doing the statistical analysis. So you're going to extract, for example, the number of events. This is my own publication in a great journal. And in this statistics, I said, hey, in this study, 2 patients had major bleeding. In this study, 1 patient had major bleeding. In this study, 5 patients had major. So how do I know all of this? Because I extracted the data. That's step number 7. You have to go to the studies that you included and extract the outcomes, extract the data, the numbers. All right, that's step number 7. And then we have the 3 important steps at the end: statistics, writing, and submission. Statistics, I've already told you guys about it. You think that it's like this, when in fact it's simple. When in fact you don't need to learn any of this. What you need to know in statistics, guys, is to operate the software. And we'll teach you the software. It's really simple to use. In fact, for one of the software that we teach you, you actually only need to do these 4 operations. There are simple and more complex software. I just want to put it out there. We teach you different software in the Meta-Analysis Academy. So we teach you simple and more advanced software. So some of them are really, really easy to use and simple, and some of them are more complex. But we'll teach you all of that. Okay, R Studio is free. R is phenomenal program. And Cochrane Review Manager is easy to use. Very, very straightforward. Okay, so when we do statistics, we're going to create a forest plot. Okay. And a forest plot is how we communicate the results. In our program, you will learn how to do this. You will learn all the different components of the meta-analysis forest plots. You will learn how to create this, how to interpret the results, how to customize it, how to change the scale, how to change the measure of association, how to add studies, remove studies. I will teach you in meta-analysis statistics. I will teach you all of it. Okay? That's step number 8. Step number 9, guys, is to write the manuscript. Step number 9 is for you to really showcase the result of your brilliant work. You really can't do all of this very well, steps 1 through 8, and then write a piece of garbage. It's not going to get it published anywhere. You have to do all these things very well. You have to get good ideas. You have to do the methods correctly. You have to get the results with statistics, but you also have to communicate it effectively. It's just like this webinar here today. I have this knowledge which is transformative in your career. I have this knowledge that could help you get a residency, fellowship, match. It could help you get into a master's, a PhD. But if I don't communicate this effectively, if I don't show you my results, and there are hundreds of results from our students from all different countries, from countries all over the world, different stages of training, first-year residents, first-year med students, like you wouldn't believe it's possible. You would think that it's out of your reach, but it's all about communication. And I admit that I don't have a super sophisticated communication skills. I wish I were even better at it. But in writing a paper, I will teach you guys how to do it effectively, how you can publish high impact papers by writing well, how to write a systematic review and meta-analysis. Communication is everything, including in research, including in writing your papers. How are we going to prepare an abstract to present it at a meeting? You know, we have students presenting at the American College of Surgeons, giving oral presentations. They're going to go there and they're going to talk. They're going to present their research. We'll teach you how in the Meta-Analysis Academy. And then finally, you will submit your paper, okay? You will submit your paper. You will pick the journal, pick the conference. You will learn how to select the journal and publish it in a great journal. All right, so that's class number 10. Class number 10 is how you pick the journal, how you publish it, how you submit it, and how you even select conferences, okay, like the ones that I've showed you before. I'll teach you how to write the abstract. I'll teach you how to get that major prize, which is the publication in a great journal in PubMed. These are some of the publications of our students: Journal of Critical Care, European Society of Medical Oncology, Neurosurgery, European Journal of Trauma and Emergency Surgery. Okay, these are publications by our students in anesthesia and analgesia, hernia, top journal in surgery. These students here are all 4th year med students. When they did this, they were all 4th year. Lucas, published in Anesthesia and Analgesia. Bruna, published in a strong surgical journal. Rodolfo, in a strong otorhinolaryngology journal, ENT. Isabella, in the European Journal of Pediatrics. Guys, what I've shown you so far are cases, are results of students from the Meta-Analysis Academy. And those are the 10-step methods, 10-step parts that you will learn in our program in depth. So I just want to give you a brief overview before we finalize this. How is it that we've gotten 1,900 participations of our students in global conferences and 1,100 participations of our students in peer review publications? The way our program works is first an introduction module where you will go through the step-by-step process of the basic foundations of research, including basic statistics, types of publication, study design, and then you will join us for this 10-module journey over 3 months, where I will explain to you in detail the theoretical and practical components. Each module in our program will have a lecture, will have an exercise, and the exercise is hands-on. You will learn how to effectively do the statistics, how to do triage, how to do data extraction, how to build effective search strategies, because I'll give you real examples from the literature that I did or the students. But it's not just an exercise. Then you have CPT, curricular practical training. This is going to be a session where I discuss the exercise with you. You have done the exercise, but now it's my turn to do it with you, to show you, to answer your questions, to help you overcome all the difficulties and barriers that you may have had. So you're going to learn how to do statistics and do these graphs. I didn't do these forest plots, by the way. These were our students doing exercise number 8. You will learn how to do publications in a group setting. You will meet people. You will connect with others in the Meta-Analysis Academy, and you will have mentors. Tomorrow, I will explain to you about the mentorship program that we have, the experts program, where you will have the opportunity to connect. These are some experts in past editions of our program, experts like Gilson, who is a cardiologist, electrophysiologist trained at Harvard, like Sarah, who is now at Duke University and has published multiple papers in anesthesiology. These are students. These are experts, were experts in prior editions of our program, and they support our students who are interested in their areas. And tomorrow, I will explain to you in details about this expert program. Like Sergio, who is a surgeon in the United States. He's a surgeon in North Carolina, trained at Cleveland Clinic, trained in Texas. He's a surgeon, so he has been a mentor to our students in the experts program, which I will explain tomorrow. Like Julia, who's an ophthalmologist from Brazil and now is in the United States as well, in Iowa. Like Rafael, who's a cardiac surgeon in Germany, who has been a mentor to our students who are interested in cardiac surgery. So you have the teaching, but you also have the support, the mentorship, the research groups, the exercises, the tutoring sessions. Denilsa, who is a resident now at the University of Nebraska, first person from the country of Mozambique to match in the United States, published this paper with Gilson, who I showed you. Gilson, who was a mentor to our students in the Meta-Analysis Academy. Patricia published with Sergio, who I showed you as well. So in our program, you will have support, the classes, the exercises, the CPTs, feedback on your lab exercises, tutoring sessions. You connect in research groups. Tomorrow, I'll explain to you the experts program. We'll give you support on your statistics and support on writing. Okay? To join the Meta-Analysis Academy, I want you guys to join the VIP group and pay attention. Pay close attention to what is going to be shared there within the next 24 hours. Okay? I will explain to you details of classes, schedule, support, experts program. I'm going to explain to you everything in this VIP group. In this group, very important information. Very important information will be shared over there. Guys, this was day 1 of the publication roadmap. We talked about the why, the barriers, and the how. Tomorrow, we'll talk about a little bit more detail about the research in the Meta-Analysis Academy. We're going to talk about the experts program, the ultimate goal of having a 3003. I'll explain that tomorrow. And then we're going to do a recap of the publication roadmap. If you guys want to learn more about this, make sure to join the VIP group. I'm going to ask my team to put that one more time, to put that over there. And if you guys have any questions, also please make sure to submit your questions in Instagram. I'd be happy to help you there as well. We're going to finish up with a video from Rafael. I want you to pay close attention to this video. This is a fourth-year medical student, and look what happened when he was in class. He was in his class listening from his professor, who's a surgeon. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow for day 2 of the publication roadmap. I hope you enjoyed the journey with me so far. I'll see you tomorrow in the publication roadmap.
Hey guys, it's Rafael Morgado here from the Meta-Analysis Academy team. And for those who don't know, I had my first paper accepted last year, and it was a paper that discussed the surgical versus the non-surgical treatment for patients with flail chest. And a couple of weeks ago, I was attending one of my classes with one of my professors who is a thoracic surgeon. And he started discussing the surgical indications for patients with flail chest, and then he mentioned a meta-analysis by a group of Brazilian research on this very topic, which was my work. So out of nowhere, he started discussing my entire meta-analysis in front of me without knowing that I was the author. I was stunned, I was completely in shock. So when the class ended, I went up to him and said, "Hey professor, this meta-analysis that you just mentioned, it is mine. I am the first author. I had the idea and I wrote it all." And it was his turn to be in shock. He could not believe it, and he kept asking me how I did it while still being a medical student. Having this experience was amazing, and it is something that I'm forever grateful for Dr. Cardoso and the entire Meta-Analysis Academy team.
Hi everyone, my name is Alice Marinho. I'm a 4th-year medical student in Brazil, and I'm a teaching assistant at a Meta-Analysis Academy. I did the first edition of the course, and very quickly I had amazing results. I had abstracts accepted in huge international conferences, such as the European Society of Cardiology, the European Society for Medical Oncology, the San Antonio Breast Cancer Symposium, the American Heart Association, and others. And I can say from experience that Dr. Hanson will teach you everything you need to know on how to conduct systematic reviews and meta-analysis. And after I saw all the amazing classes and the dedication and enthusiasm he puts into the course, I really wanted to help the project grow, so I joined the educational team. I was a teaching assistant in the last edition of the course, and I will be in the next edition as well. And I really believe in his methods, and I think that if you dedicate yourself to the course and watch the classes and do the exercise, you will be able to achieve amazing results as well. So I really hope to see you in the next edition of the Meta-Analysis Academy.
I'm Rafael Lombardi. I did the first class of the Intensivo de Metas, and I can tell I'm assistant professor at the University of Nebraska Medical Center, anesthesiology, and I had amazing results with Dr. Randerson Cardoso course. He really taught everything you ever need to know about systematic reviews and meta-analysis. My experience on research before doing this course was minimal. I had 2 small experimental papers published during med school. That was no better than anything you might ever imagine, so I surely can tell my experience with the research was 0. And after doing this course, in 18 months upon my enrollment in the course, I was able to have 3 papers accepted for publications in major journals of anesthesiology, and I really lost track of how many presentations in national meetings. I had 3 papers presented in American Academy of Medicine meeting, 5 presentations for ESRA meeting, some presentations accepted for ward meeting of regional anesthesia. I really don't remember how many, but it was 3 or 4. And I had some more presentations accepted for ASA meeting of this year, 3 or 4, don't remember how many. I really lost track of how many papers accepted for presentations in national meetings. So the course is amazing. Runners is going to teach you everything you ever need to know about systematic reviews and meta-analysis. It's going to improve your CV. It's going to make your CV way better. And if you intend to apply for residence over here in America, definitely this is going to boost your curriculum a lot. And maybe you'll be able to have a view like the one I'm having today.
Had so many frustrations in this research world and trying to get some opportunities, that so many times, so many challenges, so many hurdles. I didn't get the results that I wanted. I was frustrated with that. I started looking for some opportunities that I could be independent. And then finally, I found out about the course, about Med Academy, and since then I'm so grateful about everything.
So my name is Amanda Godoy. I am a fourth year medical student at Cardiff University in the United Kingdom. And I got to know the meta-analysis course through social media. But a funny thing that happened was that I was already trying to get out of that world of trying to search for someone to help me with research, a supervisor, someone that would guide me in the field. Hours and hours and hours dedicated to research, and I can never get something out of it. And when the course was launched, the meta-analysis course was launched, and it was honestly the best thing that happened. 3 main points from Met Academy. The lessons. It seems like a professional is getting you by the hand, taking you through every step of conducting a meta-analysis. So I had never experienced something so detailed, yet so simple at the same time. It's like a puzzle that used to be 5,000 pieces, but then it's compiled to just 10, and you have to focus on those 10. And it just gives you a pathway on how to follow and where to follow and where to get help, where to get guidance. The second one, I think, is the network that you get to know. You have the opportunity to work with other professionals from around the world, professionals that inspire you. And I think that's the best thing, the main thing. You get to work with experts in the field. You get to work with people from the same level as you. You get to work with people at different levels, from different backgrounds, different experiences, just coming together with this passion for research, this passion for improving their careers. And something really, really awesome happens, really fantastic. Throughout the course, there are several people that are working behind the scenes to help you in your own ideas. Every week, there are loads of mentorships that are being given by different professionals that have done meta-analysis themselves, that have worked with Randerson, and they help you on a one-to-one basis. And I don't think you can get that elsewhere. I am one of the first authors in an observational study that started in January 2020. It's still ongoing. We are still analyzing the results. So it's taken 2 years to, to really get to the bottom of it. And when I compare it with the meta-analysis that we were able to write a full paper in 4 weeks, I would say, that's nothing. It's just something that you can't compare it. You can't compare it.